This has been a long-standing project, I'll say, or at least the idea of the project. It's called the Hertel line, which will deliver hydroelectricity, clean energy to New York City via the Champlain Valley, as we know it, the Mohawk Valley, coming all the way from our connectivity here in Candiac, La Prairie, St. Philippe through the scenery of Sault Ste. Louis. We forged a partnership through a memorandum of understanding, which was signed by previous council a couple of months before election. But again, like I said, the bulk of the work had happened over the course of the past 4 or 5 years, building a relationship with Hydro-Quebec on various projects, the one just culminating with the tower removal, and a new president, Sophie Brochu, who reached out to Kahnawake and said, we want to develop a relationship with Indigenous communities. We understand our history, we understand where we are today, and knowing that Kahnawake and our long history and the scenery made sense for them to do this project and initiative with us in tow versus finding about it later, so to speak. And it will help us develop not only that relationship, but build economic development within the community, providing the possibility of jobs, and obviously finance through the fruition of this project in the coming years. I heard through news and Premier Legault announcing a $20 billion project. I'm not sure if that's correct at this point. I really don't know the entire scope. Like I said, our involvement to this stage has been the signing of an MOU, which upon the announcement and our successful bid on the project becomes legally binding. So from here, we'll start the heavy lifting in terms of negotiation on what will be Kahnawak's portion, how we'll do this. But it's groundbreaking to say that we will be on the board of a major piece of infrastructure that crosses historic Mohawk territory in terms of scenery. So it's hard to say the scope right now, but it is large. Given the relationship at the beginning, lack thereof, between Kahnawake and Hydro-Quebec, which stems 30 years plus at this point, in the early 2000s, starting to talk about some of what is owed to the community in terms of land and some of the rents through leases, as you will, that have happened with the federal government and provincial government's help way back when. We came to terms on some of those things. And then realizing that this project would touch scenery, educating them, understanding what this means to us and the value of it, they understood that wholeheartedly. And I think I'd have to quote the President Brochu, who was on Radio-Canada a few months ago when this was first announced by them and us to the community in terms of the signing of the MOU, when the question said, why are you doing this with Kahnawake? What's their involvement? She said, well, we're in their home. Because we're crossing their house, we have no choice but to deal with it in a good way. Not that they're forced to, but the recognition factor is huge in this. So that's the short history in terms of how they came to terms with us on scenery. There'll be more to come. Like I said, the heavy lifting will start now. We're very happy, excited, and looking forward to continuing to build this relationship with Hydro-Quebec. We met with them honestly today, a bit of a surprise. It was supposed to be just an introductory meeting between the new Grand Chief, Gus Anahwe, and the new president, who's only been with Hydro for a little over a year, came in during pandemic. But because of the announcement yesterday, we felt and she felt it appropriate to bring in the team and talk a little bit about the economics of it, and not to get into the details or the weeds, but more to build relationships. So more to come. Keep your eyes and ears tuned. We'll see, and obviously in terms of transparency to the community, more interesting information to come very soon.